Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 27th of May 2023. So, I know the last 3 years have been very, very frustrating. You know what I'm talking about, right? You are telling people that, a certain thing is happening or a certain set of things are happening, and you know for a fact that what you're saying is true, but they turn around and go, no, you're just talking nonsense, it's just conspiracy, you need to stop looking at this nonsense. And you get very frustrated, and you just think, well, if you just sort of look beyond the end of your nose, you'll see that it is true, and it's very obviously true to me. So I don't know why you can't see it. Well, the reason why it might be obvious to you and not to them is because you've got a perspective that they haven't got. You're kind of up here and you can see a lot further, and they're down here and they can't. I've been led to talk about this, or inspired, should I say, because I was on a cycle ride, another one of my jaunts, up there on the top of the South Downs, and you look one way and all you can see is land, and then you look the other way and you can see the sea. But if you were way down in the valley on the sort of land side of the hills there, you could be forgiven in thinking that there is no sea. And that's probably what people did think many hundreds of years ago, back in medieval times or whenever, in the Dark Ages even. If you'd sort of said to someone who was living in a village, do you know what, those distant hills over there, if you go to them, go up to the top of them and over them, you'll see a body of water. You know the village duck pond here? Well, it's the same kind of thing, water, but it tastes a bit different. It's very salty tasting rather than how the duck pond tastes, of ducks, duck feathers, I suppose. But it tastes very salty, and it's vast. It's like 1,000,000 times bigger than the duck pond, and it's so big that you can't even see the far side of it. It's just so huge. And then someone who's never left their village in their whole lives, and the only bit of water they've seen is the odd stream and the duck pond, well, they may well turn around and say, no, Tim, you crazy conspiracy theorist, you're just talking absolute nonsense. And you're saying to them, well, what you got to do is just go down to those hills, go to the top, and you'll see this body of water that I'm talking about. And then what's even more frustrating is they turn around and go, oh no, that's too much like hard work, mate. No, I can't be bothered with that. No way. And this is kind of what we're up against, isn't it, really? Now, I'm not saying I know everything. Far from it. I would say, to use the South Downs analogy, that's probably the height I'm at the moment, so considerably higher than the people down in the valley there. But I know people watching this are kind of literally at Mount Everest height, or even at pilot height, 40,000 feet, and they've got that view and that perspective. So they could see a lot more than I can. So although it's frustrating, if we can make the effort to get up to the top of a hill and see what's on the other side, why can't everybody else? But there again, we should be charitable, I guess, as well, because not everybody has the perspective that we've got. I don't know what you think. Should we be charitable, or should we be, not charitable, I guess, and just sort of blame people for sort of not taking the effort to climb up to the top of the hill and see what's on the other side, as it were? Leave a comment in the comment section below about what you think on that. So again, another thing that inspired me when I was out on my cycle ride, or inspired me to say something about it, it really is the case that if you look out for other people, you look after other people, God will look out for you and look after you. Now, on my way down the cycle path that I took, I got a little way along and there were some cyclists, 3 cyclists there. 2 of the bikes were upside down. They're clearly having mechanical issues. So I stopped and said, you know, do you need any help? And they said, oh no, we've just got a couple of punctures, but we've got it in hand. I hung around for 5 minutes chatting to them, and by the time I went again, I could see they were, well, they definitely had things in hand and they were going to be okay. So I carried on. Some miles further down the path, I decided to take a coffee break at this really nice pathside cafe that I know. So I pop in there. I got a coffee, a nice bit of cake. You know, after all, I'd burnt the calories, so I thought I'd have myself a little treat there. And I'm kind of sitting on the ground, enjoying my coffee, and this guy comes over and he says to me, oh, you know, we've got a puncture over there and my bike pump's not working properly. It doesn't seem to be pumping the tyre up. You haven't got a pump we could borrow, have you? Now, considering I was sitting on the ground, relaxing, having a cup of coffee, I could have very easily said, mate, can't you see that I'm trying to relax here having this coffee? I've only just sat down, I'm knackered, there's other cyclists around, can't you just go over and ask one of them instead? But of course I didn't do that, did I? I sort of helped them out, and I went over to my bike, got the pump, brought it over to them, and sure enough they pumped it up, the tyre up, and off they went. And off I went afterwards, after I'd finished my coffee, thinking, yeah, that's my good deed for the day done. And I was very happy to have done it. It's, yeah, helping other people is what it's all about, isn't it? But another few miles down the path came my time of need. I'd kind of gone up over the South Downs and I was dropping down the other side. It's a very nice long descent and you go sort of flying down the hill. The path is very rutty and bobbly, so the bike's shaking around like crazy. And after a while, I hear this weird noise coming from the back end. And I'm thinking, oh, what's going on here? So I stop, and it transpires that one of the bolts that holds the rack, I've got this pannier rack on the back of my bike, and the bottom bolt had dropped out, so the just with all the vibration it had just shaken out, and the rack had kind of collapsed down onto the rear mudguard, and that was acting like a brake on the rear wheel, on the you know, scraping along the tyre there. So I think, oh no. And you know, I couldn't really ride it, I had to sort of walk it, and I thought, oh, you know, where am I going to, you know, how am I going to sort this problem out then? But do you know what? It transpires that I was literally only about 700 or 800 yards from a bike shop, and I was able to walk along there. It took me about, I don't know, 15 minutes to 10-15 minutes to walk there, and I was limping along, got into the bike shop, and what's even better is the guy got a bolt, put it in for me, and when I turned around and said, how much do I owe you, he was like, no, that's free, mate, you know, don't worry about it. I mean, how great was that, eh? And I'm sure that was God rewarding me, because for my good turn that I'd done these people, because I'm sure what would have happened if I'd just told those people at the coffee place, no, go away, I'm trying to relax and have a coffee here, yeah, just go and ask someone else, can you? And had I done that, what would have happened to me with that bike rack bolt is either it would have come out way before it did, and I would have had a walk that was miles and miles and miles rather than just a few hundred yards. Either that would have happened, or I'd have gone into this bike shop and he would have ripped me off. He'd have gone, oh yeah, that's £25, mate, or something silly. You know what I mean? It just goes to show that if you do the right thing, you look after other people, God will look after you. And this really should be a warning to the powers that shouldn't be and their minions, because you most certainly haven't been doing the right thing for people and for humanity. And boy, oh boy, all I will say is I would not want to be in your shoes for anything. I know you guys are rich as anything. You've got, limitless wealth almost. But I wouldn't trade places with you for anything. So just bear that in mind. Anyway, gonna leave it there. Tim from Fair Play now. Thanks for watching.